Today, I have the privilege of introducing you to Lori Beard. Lori is a seasoned life coach, leadership, and communication mentor. She's known for helping people move forward when life feels emotionally heavy or stalled. Her work focuses on uncovering how unresolved experiences and layered grief quietly shape decision-making, relationships, and self-trust. With over 32 years of marriage and the experience of raising 8 children, Lori brings uncommon depth, relatability, and authority to her coaching. She helps parents, professionals, and leaders develop self-awareness, emotional clarity, and the confidence to respond rather than react. Her approach blends mindset mastery, communication building skills, and practical tools that lead to lasting personal and relational breakthroughs. Perfect. I get the pleasure of introducing my new friend, Lori Beard, and her and I have become close in the last year, and I loved hearing about her story, and I'm like, you need to share that. So I am going to ask her some questions that really get at some of her journey, which I love. This is called Conversations on Living Your Purpose, and it is always a journey. So my first question for you, Lori, is that I was so amazed to find out you have 8 children and you were a stay-at-home mom like myself. So you stayed at home. How many years all in all did you stay at home?
20 something years. I was a stay-at-home mom. Yeah, raising and I'm still out, combined with the entrepreneurship. But Jen, I wanted to just say thank you for having me. I love this and what you're doing with building communities of women 50 plus, and it's an honor for me to be here. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I am so glad you get to be in part of one of the communities that I created and that's growing. And that season of being a stay-at-home mom kind of defines them. I know I found that in my own life. When did you first realize that there was more unfolding for you beyond that role?
Yeah, it came like quietly. It was not like, oh, I'm done with this aspect of my life and I'm ready to move on. It was just an inner nudge, kind of like in your head, that it was becoming. And I love being a mom. It was my joy and my fulfillment and what I envisioned. But then I was like, okay, now I need to reinvent myself, like you like to talk about and teach a lot about. And my identity then needed to have another hat or evolve a little bit. And it was larger than that one season of being a mom. And we're blessed to forever be moms, right? Mm-hmm. And when my youngest went to kindergarten, I'm like, what am I going to do now? It was this existential crisis. Like, what am I going to do now? And that's when I decided to go full in what I'm doing now.
Yeah, that's so good. That's almost exactly what happened to me. I was like sitting on the couch one day and I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to tell people I'm a stay-at-home mom? I'm so old now.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, this is like, it was more of a becoming, like you said. I love how the wording that you used. So one of the things I thought was really cute when you and I were having a conversation before is that you shared a moment with your son when he called you bossy, and you said that something in that became a turning point. What did that moment awaken in you about your own patterns or maybe dynamics of being a mom and with a child?
Okay, I'm glad you found it cute, but it wasn't cute at the
I
moment.
know, I'm sure it wasn't cute at the time, but
way
what I
he
thought was
told
so
me.
good is how you really sat in that feeling and grew from it. So I love that.
Yeah. So it kind of exposed how, and this is just a realization, even when you we were talking and you were saying, hey, this I might ask you these questions. It just got me thinking even deeper. It was kind of how control, or what I thought I was controlling, and he's the guinea pig. He was the oldest. It was like my way of feeling safe, right? Controlling and just wanting for everything and for him to make the right choices. And now he's becoming a teenager, so now he's not gonna be controlled by me. I mean, hopefully not. And I saw that some of my strength had turned into this not ideal way of being a mom, where I could, it was rigid. And it was due to my unresolved wounds and it was basically shaping how I was going to show up in life and with him and with the rest of my children. And that moment became basically an invitation to find help, seek for help for healing and repair those things that were there from the past, instead of it living a life to defend or to want to control. So that's what it did for me.
Yeah, I
Big
can
lesson.
understand. Me too. I know.
What's that?
I
What,
said,
what?
me too.
Oh, yeah.
I like to control. I kind of feel like as women, we're kind of we got to be everything to everybody and be the fix it. Like we like to be in control because then it shows that we have a purpose through that control. But sometimes it's a false illusion. And I like it when you said the word invitation, because I think it is, when things are a struggle, it is an invitation to learn and to grow. So
Yes.
awesome.
And,
And it led
and,
you
and
down this amazing path, wasn't it? Like one of the things that started you on this new journey of what you're doing now?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And and I say invitation because you have to accept that invitation or reject
Mhm.
it and stay the same and not change and oh, I'm your mother because I said so sort of way. And I was slapped enough or shaken enough that I realized if I continue like this, it's not gonna go well. So I needed to evaluate, like, okay, and make a decision. And that's why I kind of accepted that invitation. And it's just not pleasant, not a pleasant realization,
Yeah.
but very necessary.
Yeah. You described that really beautifully.
Oh,
I
thank
love
you.
that because it's not always fun to grow. And that's an important thing to point out. Sometimes it's hard.
Sometimes it's hard.
Really
And as a
hard.
mom, I was growing up, I say when you were 5 to my oldest, when you were 5, I was 5. I was a toddler when you were a toddler, you know, in the role of being a mother. So I appreciate his patience so much.
Yeah. I used to say that to my kids too. I would say, I am not a mother. I am Jenn, and Jenn is trying to be a really good mother. But this is the first time I'm doing this, and I'm learning with you, and I would just admit, like, I don't have it all figured out because I never wanted them to think like I have it all figured out. I'm just a person more than I'm a mom. And so I'm
Right.
trying to do the mom thing well, hopefully I did. But yeah, we're just people. And I think that any mom listening, who is in the thick of it, to remember that is like you don't have to be perfect. Just be you. And yeah.
And my youngest, Jen, I'm a more seasoned mom, right? I've been a mom for
Mhm.
31 years now, but I've never raised a Gabriel. I've been I'm 16 years old when it comes to raising my youngest, and his name is Gabriel. So I'm like, this is still a new experience for me. Maybe I have learned and matured in many other ways, but it's just we're trying to figure each other out here as we go too. So we need to be merciful. We need to try to provide so much grace in whatever we're doing, parenting, professionally, like in our businesses. We need to give ourselves grace, always with understanding that pivoting a little bit and changing and growth needs to be part of it.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, let me ask you about this. You talk about minding your mind. When did you start noticing about your thoughts once you slowed down enough to really observe them?
Yeah. So when I went to school for life coaching, the teachers were so amazing and great mentors. And when they started uplifting and providing feedback on the answers I would submit, it was online for me. It was an online experience. And then they started validating my insights or helping me understand myself. I realized how my thought process was driven by fear, by the old stories I was telling myself of what happened to me in the past or during my upbringing. And also thoughts of obligation, which I'm going to ask your audience, are your thoughts led by that pressure that comes from expectations and obligations that you think you need to be a servant to? So slowing down helped me see that I could break the pattern instead of being in autopilot for these motivations. Um, so instead of reacting in the same way, choosing, making a conscientious or with a lot of conscientiousness, if that's a word, being cognizant about why is it that you're doing things? Why is it that your behaviors are the same or reactions? And so it's like then when I became more aware, that gave me a better sense of agency to make more choices, more intentional and purposeful.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to really think about things in that way because we do feel obligated, or we don't necessarily, we're so busy. Like in our culture, everything is just so busy. It's like, oh, you don't have time to really reflect or think about why you're reacting or thinking the way you do, or the stories. And so I think that is really important. That mind your mind is such a great philosophy always to have with you, like throughout your day, just to learn and grow and try to be better.
And if you notice, doing the homework, submitting and typing helps pause, like you said, like taking that time to journal it or documented it. If somebody's averse, have averse feelings about journaling, with it's data. It's you need to document it. These are the facts, right? Or this is the reasons why I've been like this whole time, and that really helps with introspection and understanding yourself better and your motives. So
Yeah,
it really helps.
that's good. And it's one of those things that seems like it's pretty easy to do, but it's hard to do at the same time because how many people actually, they might think they know it's a good thing to do, but do they actually like take the time to be reflective and sit down with those thoughts?
Jen, you and I have gone through a lot of trainings,
Yeah.
whether that's together or on our own. And it's so relieving when I see there's a PDF, there's a worksheet, because it's like, oh, all this sounds really good. And I'm intaking. But then when I put it in black and white from my head on the paper, or however you're filling out that PDF, it just helps us understand certain things at a deeper level and even implement and realize and awareness, like I said, and it makes a big difference. So I want to extend that invitation out there, right?
Instead of, and this kind of goes along with what we are just talking about, instead of staying stuck in guilt or defensiveness, you chose growth. What gave you the courage to look at yourself and say, I want to do this differently?
Yeah, because insanity, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again.
That's
And what also I always say, repetition is the mother of mastery. Depending on what was the pattern you're repeating, you will master being a bully or being a control freak or being miserable and making those around you miserable too. If you
so
repeat
true.
the same patterns, right? So insanity is expecting new results doing the same thing. So I knew that guilt or whatever it was that was unresolved and the wounds were going to leave me stuck.
Mm.
And when I've heard a faith-based leader say, like, save a women, save generations, so if I was gonna, I had 8 kids. Well, at the moment when my son told me that, I had the 8 kids. So I was either gonna make everybody miserable in the way I was raising and portraying myself, or I was gonna be a more loving, humble, fun person to be around. That love for my children, that desire to break those old patterns is it was more important to me than just protecting my ego, right?
That's, yeah.
So courage came when I decided that healing was worth the discomfort of admitting and getting help for changing. So
Yeah, that's good because yeah, you could have just doubled down and just said, my way or the highway, but you didn't. And that does take bravery. Honestly, the changing is not easy. It is changing is one of the hardest things I feel like, because like you said, you become a master in what you repeat. And it's just like, yeah, you change what you do and become a master of something different that you want to do, not the things you don't want to do.
So, Jen, I agree with you. The process of changing is hard. But you know what? I think what is a little bit harder in my situation is admitting that you need the change. And once you are there, like, oh my goodness, I thought I had it all figured out. And with this mentality of wanting to control, I thought I was a very controlled mother or the perfect mother or things like that. And admitting, and my son told me this one in this journey. Fast forward a few years, my daughter, one amazing. I have two daughters, and they're amazing, but one is very bold, and she told me at some point, Mom, I think it's time for you also to, something else. And I'm like, ah. So that's admitting and those realizations, surrendering to those realizations and awareness is very hard.
Yeah.
And it's like a little bit of a humble pie. And then, yes, changing is hard, but that's like when you're just gonna blow after the surprise of, we love you, but you need to do something about this. But then changing, of course, breaking of, from the patterns and things like that is hard, but it's even harder to admit in my case. But the change is just fun, and wow, like understanding that you have this potential to become a better XYZ. It's very good and fascinating.
I love how you reframed it, because that that is a good reframing is so important, to see things differently. And you said a couple things that I loved. Number one was solitude. Or not, you didn't say solitude. What was the thing that you said? Surrender, surrender. When you said surrender, that is so true. So I think surrender always has to come before the change. And reframing is such a good thing to realize, like, okay, this isn't happening to me, it's happening for me. And to think of it as exciting. That's a great, great way, instead of, oh, I have to change.
And we as coaches, that's what we want to provide, right? Provide others with, or deliver, right? That change they need in the old patterns. So
yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so you went back to school and you became certified in mindset work later on in life. What did that season teach you about learning and about identity and trusting yourself through that process?
oh my goodness, this is so good. It just reminded me that it's never too late to learn, to trust in ourselves again, right? In a different scenario. We were the taxi drivers, the cooks, the nurses, there was something else we wanted to do, and maybe more intentional, not by default. And it's just like reclaiming your voice. Like I feel like I reclaim my voice as a student and as a woman that could lead myself, and then myself in my business and how I wanted to impact, and others also in their own growth as I was growing. And it was a season that rebuilt my confidence from the inside out. It's funny because I'm the youngest of four. I was always the sister of, or, the sister of, the daughter of, the mom of. But it's like now I'm like, oh, this is me. I'm Lori Beard.
Wow.
So it's rebuilt my confidence.
That is a great thing for also people listening to think about, is how are you leading yourself well? And a lot of times that kind of goes right in with this reinvention piece, is that to reinvent or become the next you is basically, you're not reinventing yourself. You're just growing and evolving yourself into something that you weren't before. And so a lot of that takes self-leadership. So I love that you said that word. You believe in mentors. And I love mentors because they help you see your blind spots, is what you said. So, can you share how having mentors has changed your path and also softened the way that you see yourself?
Hmm. Yeah, starting from those teachers. Um, and then after I did my certification and all that, you're like, oh my goodness, what do I do? And I signed up in different mentoring programs and coaching programs. They helped see those blind spots, right? Or and then what we're very critical. Like we criticize this and we're so insecure and the fear of the imposter syndrome and all that. The mentor is able to see a whole picture that you're not seeing. And for example, one told me, looking at my eyes, like, you have a book inside of you. You have many books. Start with number one. And
Wow.
I'm like, oh, okay. It
And
wasn't
that was
anything
affirmation of something you already knew,
and that
right?
I wanted, but it was kind of suppressed because if I would tell my family or whatever, I would think my own fears and insecurities that they were probably gonna laugh at me.
Yeah.
And when I expressed it, or when in this mentorship program I saw writing a book was a possible thing to do, and they told me, you have it, you can. They gently expose those blind spots or those insecurities, but that help them to become strengths and to say it's possible. And it was great for me to believe in myself with their encouragement and support, which is kind of objective. It's not like your mom or your grandma. I believe in you. You can do everything you want. Oh, thank you. But do you? Do you really? And
Right.
but this there's not no strings attached, emotional strings attached with a mentor, a coach. And they were very good cheerleaders that saw the potential I had professionally, and it was great.
Yeah, it's important. It brings to my mind you are the product of the five people you spend the most time around. And when you get in the room with mentors or masterminds with other people who are kind of trying to be on the same track you're on, and you see them writing a book, or you're like, hey, I can do that too. And it just fills your confidence. And there's definitely a process, I think, that women, or, I focus on women groups. And so I feel like there's a natural progression that's kind of happening even through this conversation that is a real life transformation. And that is like surrender, awareness, and then the growth strategies. And then once you have that foundation, then get in a group of women who see the world like you do and who want to help you to live that vision for yourself in the world. It's just like the next logical step, and getting mentors and people who speak that dream or that life into you. Because like you said, maybe your mom or your grandma does have that belief, but it just lands differently when it's coming from a peer or someone who is not required to say that necessarily. And
Right.
so I love that, just like the natural progression that's kind of already happened through this conversation that might help a woman listening to be like, okay, where am I on that journey? Like, have I even, maybe they're in the surrendering part, but they don't know what to do next. Okay, so you have a book. Let's talk about your book. So your
Okay.
book, and the title is Freedom from Self-Slavery. That's a powerful phrase there. What does self-slavery look like for women in midlife, especially? And how do we begin to loosen that grip so that we can have a more effective and fulfilling life?
Yeah, good question. I think of many women that I'm surrounded that I know, and they're going through the motions. They're going through the motion, and it's like, what life is happening to me, and it looks like they're living out of obligation in
Mm.
their personal relationships with their children and with everything in life. Even people pleasing, all expectations, instead of your true potential, your divine nature, your purpose, and what your calling is. Many people have suppressed, or women have suppressed, how, but I wish, I always wanted to XYZ. You're filling the blanks. If you're listening, you know what it is that probably you've been suppressing. We lose sight of what else can we do and become. who else can we become? Who else we can impact and influence for good? Whether that is volunteering and not a business, right? Jen, would you agree? Like,
Oh,
it doesn't
yeah,
have
for
to be a
sure.
or an entrepreneur like us, like a life
Yeah.
coach, or have our own podcast or whatever it is, right? But you want to do something that you have been suppressing. That is self-slavery. That is just allowing fears to be the master. Because if we're a slave, we have a master. And questioning those stories and just wallowing on staying stuck there. So now that's what self-slavery looks like. And how do we break off the chains of that is just awareness, surrendering, and waking up to alignment to your mission and vision of life, and to what it is that you've been wanting to do and accomplish. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to be a superstar tomorrow or do this tomorrow. But it's just one decision at a time. Take that first step. What is it that you need to do? Check a volunteer place that you want to volunteer. Make that first phone call, or enroll in college. So check the fees, what you need to pay, or check a community college around you. I mean, whatever that is, just take that first step and break those chains of self-slavery. They're invisible. I think everybody's seen the meme or the little poster where the elephant is tied with a little rope.
Yeah, and it could get away if it wanted to. It just doesn't think it can. Yeah.
Just like
That's
that.
a great analogy. These dreams, a lot of times, like when we're young, we know what to do. We know what's in our heart, kind of, and life kind of throws us curveballs, or we hear, you could never do that, or why are you thinking so big, or who do you think you're going to help? All the noise that can come in. Like, how did you block all of that out? And because, I mean, that's a big part of it, is that, we're in the world, but not of it. And and this world tries to really kind of like keep you busy, keep you distracted, keep you away from living your purpose. And what would you suggest like a person do to like block out that noise so that they can really get to the part where they're in the freedom part?
Okay, how long do we have, Jen?
That wasn't on my list of questions, but it just came up to me so much because I'm like, yeah, I mean, your book, everything that you said about your book, I'm like, okay, we've got to go into that a little bit more, because it's so good for people who this is a big topic. So I don't know, you share your wisdom.
Yeah, no, it's just I have in my website, become your best friend and ally. Because with life coaching, I did a little bit of guided meditation as well, and I offered that with my life coaching. Some people call it hypnosis. Some people are aware of that, that are afraid of that word. But with guided meditation, when clients or prospect clients will call and ask me about my services and all that, they would declare or confess, because the worst place for me to live in is in my mind. Like, what in the world? And that's even sounded true for me for those years where I would just, because we are the voice that we have in our head all the time. We're the voice we listen to the most. It's our own voice. And of course, if you're very faith-based and you're so in tune with Holy Spirit and God, and universe and all that, and even nature for some, that's beautiful. And that's a great way to do it, to get over ourselves, is to try to get away and all that. But we also need to change the channel, retrain our mind. We talk about programming. We need to reprogram our mind because of this narratives and old stories and what happened to us. We need to reprogram ourselves, if I can be super bold. And literally, we need to try to feed our brain, our mind, our spirit and soul new information. And Jen, if I say, don't think of a pink elephant, activity, and we said, don't, no, I can't believe it, I won't be able to. We are conditioning ourselves to be able to think, never, or no, we're not going to do that. And that's why we need to come up with a new narrative and say, I can, I am enough. I am able to do things. I am capable. And this is why we need to do it in present time as it's already happening. And it's not just affirmations, it's not woo-woo, it's literally say, I'm not the reason why this happened in my childhood, and understand ourselves at a deeper level, journaling or with short little statements that we can say, that was then, this is now, and this is how we're moving forward. So for me, it was a lot of listening to guided meditations. There's so many apps out there. Calm, Headspace. There's so many, and I'm sure you guys might know about this, but that is so important to feed our mind with new information and with a new programming. That's what helped me. Working out, taking care of my body, my spirit, my mind, and plugging into coaching programs with these strangers that become very close people. Because if we watch a Tony Robbins video or Dean Graziosi video or whatever your favorite mentor is out there, it's kind of like they become your best friends, or they become a very good influence in your life if you're listening to that good information and their messaging. So plugging into all that is what helped me grow up in confidence and courage to understand and refine my purpose. I was a mother, I mothered, I'm still a mother, but now what is that community and society and an audience need out there? We are bombarded with propaganda and negativity. You and I want to make a difference. And when we realize the importance of our message, it's like there's no time to waste. There's no more self-doubt through the years as we're trying and refining and polishing. But then you become and you grow more certain, more firm in your foundation of what is it that you want to do and what's the message and what's the difference you can do in the world. So that's what helped me.
Yeah. Oh, that speaks my language. I love that. That is a perfect segue into the next question too. You and I both believe that reinvention doesn't happen alone and that women heal and grow in a community. So what excites you most about bringing women together with groups? And we talked a little bit about possibly doing retreats together in the future. So let's kind of go there for women listening who might be interested in doing some things where they get out of their normal life and maybe go away to a place where we could do a retreat or something like that.
Yeah, bringing women together is it's powerful. We are used to the high school movies and the mean girls, right? Tearing each other.
And their mean girls are still out there, by the way.
Right. But then there's something so powerful about women realizing they're not alone, or they don't have to go through these new stages and phases and rebuild themselves by themselves and alone. And so, yeah, because community accelerates healing, clarity, and courage. Like if we get out of our meetings, right, Jen, like, oh, okay, I'm not crazy. Oh, I can do this. Oh, she knows that skill and she's willing to share it. Oh, she's gone through this and I'm going through this also. And then we share ideas and we're like, oh my goodness, what a great idea. And for somebody, that's something they do all the time. And then I'm, oh my goodness, I hadn't thought of it. It's just so amazing to build community and create spaces where women feel understood, seen, supported, and free to become who they want to be without that paralyzing and destructive competition with jealousy and with all that. So it's just so amazing when we're rooting for each other, when we're supporting each other. And that's why it's so important for anyone 50 plus or that wants to have a new beginning or a fresh start to surround themselves with cheerleaders.
I love being that kind of a cheerleader later on in life, because I think a lot of women are sitting here listening saying, that's great, but where did you find these people? And that's the hardest part, because right now, I think I have more friends on my online communities than I do in my actual community. But the
Hmm.
thing about it is that getting around the right people is if you can be really intentional about it. And that's kind of what we all want to create in our big group, is to do retreats where all you have to do as a woman is you just show up. We're going to do you can be guaranteed there's going to be great women there who think like you. So you will find connection there. We're going to basically curate a group for you and share our friends with you is basically kind of what we would do in a retreat situation. But like, what do you say to a woman who's like, gosh, everything you say sounds great, but how do I find that community? It's so hard in this day and age.
That's Jen. She knows how to build the communities and make them thrive. And yeah, no, find it. Find your tribe. There's so many Facebook groups. There's so many. If you have an interest, find. And it's like a good pair of shoes. If you don't, if it didn't fit, or if it was okay for a time, and then it's like they're getting tight or uncomfortable, you keep checking on others until you find the place where you're going to be happy and you know you're going to accomplish this growth that you are so hungry and thirsty for. Um, it's interesting. I kind of got to meditate a little bit when you were talking, because you're talking about retreats and getting together. I remember, Jen, an amazing retreat. It was great retreat, but in one of the teaching sessions, they wanted to teach us that jealousy is a good thing because it's kind of like fuel to become better. I resisted. I resisted believing that principle or the way they taught it. I think I get the intention behind it. But in my mind, and I think I even was able to raise my hand and express, I don't agree with this because I think
I
instead of
remember that part.
because jealousy, no, I don't think it's not. We're used to comparing. We're used to maybe be jealous of, oh, look at that person has so many likes or has so many followers. I don't think jealousy. It's a good um, virtue or a good thing to practice. If anything, to me, instead of jealousy, should be inspiration. And when we rejoice on somebody else's success, a sister, a sister in these groups, we need to authentically rejoice. And if there's some jealousies, like because I want to be there or whatever, or get there too, but it should be inspiration. You
Yeah.
inspire me to be better instead of I'm jealous of you. You should say, oh, you inspire me to be better, to become better, or accomplish what you're accomplishing, because that opens doors to be humble, to learn from, or to celebrate somebody else's success rather than being sad or angry about somebody else's success. And those are that's the sisterhood or the tribe or the community you have to find, where we support each other and we're happy with each other.
Yeah, I know. I think when you were talking, I just felt this verse in my spirit. It's like run your own race, you know?
Yeah.
It's like we're all running our own race. And if we believe, like we're just doing with the next step that's coming in front of us, like, when I set out to do this business, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm supposed to do this. I feel like I'm supposed to step into this new calling or whatever. But I didn't know. I'm like, show me, God, how's it all going to unfold? And I feel like I literally heard just, I'm going to do one step at a time. I'll show you the step, you take it. That's it. You're only going to know the next step. And so each time I feel like, okay, and who am I to judge the timing of that? Like, what if it's taking me a long, long time to get a few hundred followers, but then who knows what's going to happen? Like, I'm releasing the expectation in my own timetable. And so it almost kind of naturally dissipates too the jealousy that someone else is going faster or further or having different results, because I'm like, well, no, that my journey has nothing to do with their journey. And I can still trust and applaud at the same time, you know? And so,
Yeah.
but I know, I mean, like we said, we're in the world. It's hard to be like, but I want that too, but then, yeah, it's also a self-leadership to realize like, okay, well, what do we do now? We can reframe it or we can get stuck. And if you get stuck, there's not going to be any growth or benefit that happens there. So yeah.
Yeah, and then I want that too. We
Yeah.
can mope a little bit about that, but then I'm like, okay. So obviously that person's doing something else or more effectively or whatever it is that it would inspire me or motivate me to, okay, learn more. But if we stay in our lane in our race, like you're saying, I know a beautiful story about 100-year-old man that registered for a race, and then everybody was cheering him on when he was the last one to get to the finish line, but he won in his category because he was the
Oh,
only 100 or over 100. So imagine if we liken that to our lives, what is our category? You, Jen, you have your own qualifications and competitive advantages. If we stay in our lane, if we continue, even when we're last in the race, but we all get to the finish line and there's people there waiting for you to cheer you on, and that's the beautiful picture, right? In an ideal world. But
yeah.
we all have our differences and a different timing, our different personal situations and circumstances, and we're each running this race at our own pace.
Yeah. Like, is there anything that you would like people to take from your experiences and apply to their life, or any closing thoughts or anything you want to leave people with?
Allow yourself the ability and the blessing to grow, to grow. It's okay. Sometimes there's water stuck. Like imagine a beautiful garden, there's water there, there's weeds, but when you drain that little puddle, you have the power and the potential to become a beautiful garden. Yes, weeds are going to come back. Yes, the little puddles are going to get stuck in there. And then we can do that. We can dwell on some issues and get in fetal position for a few hours, for a few days. But then after that, feel what you feel, that your emotions run. As long as you don't stay stagnant, you don't stay there. If you feel that you're stagnant, seek for help and mentors, coaches, a loved one that has the best interest in you, can help you step up and live to your full potential. A book that I like is The 5 Regrets of the Dying. And the author just writes about all the regrets. And it's, if I could have, should have, and it's an amazing book, but I think about that and I don't want to have any regrets. I want to do my best at fulfilling and being true to my desire, as long as it's a good desire to do good in the world, to say, oh, I did my best. That's my last advice.
Oh, what a perfect way to end it. And I love that analogy too of the garden. That was a perfect analogy because, yeah, the weeds are going to grow, but don't stay there. Don't stay in the puddle. Oh, what a great way to end it, Lori. Thank you so much. This has been a great conversation, and I just love watching people to live into their purpose and just to hear your wisdom along the way. I mean, I feel like that could give somebody motivation if they're just at step one, because, and,
Yes.
and even there's bravery in that. Like I'm looking behind you, it says brave, love, strong. And I love that too, because it's not a weakness to do that first step, the surrender and the awareness step. That's not a weakness, that's a strength. And so if that's a person today listening and they're like, oh my gosh, I've never gone through this process, it's like, okay, good, then you are strong. Let's start at step one. And sometimes that's like the bravest thing that you can do. So I love that. And thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom. And I hope that people will buy your book. And I hope that someday if we do a retreat together, that people will join up for a retreat because they felt inspired by this conversation. Planting
Wonderful.
seeds. We're planting seeds in the garden right now.
Yay. Thank you, Jen.
Thanks so much, Lori.
Bye bye.